Whew. Hey everybody, this is Captain Yeet here for you for another X-Men 97 episode review. This is going to be X-Men 97 Season 1 Episode 5 titled Remember It. So, let's get into it. Man, this episode was a doozy. Oh boy, man, this episode was a doozy. Obviously we gotta get to the beginning part first. So, the beginning starts with the opening. The opening has a few new scenes that, well, not new scenes, but they're reanimating old scenes from the original series and putting them in the intro. We see that play out here. I didn't notice it for the last 2 weeks, but they took Storm out of the intro because he's not part of the X-Men right now. So I didn't notice that until I saw a video on it from the new Rockstar. So that was a pretty good eye catcher right there. So the episode begins off with a news reporter doing a, not intro, but an interview. That's what I meant to say, interview of the X-Mansion and the X-Men to show the public, like, hey, mutants are humans too. Like, just to bridge the gap a little bit. Little by little, any little thing that helps. So she's interviewing Beast, she interviews Cyclops, just showing the whole world how the X-Men roll and what the X-Mansion is. She also interviews Jubilee. So after she interviews a few people, we cut over to Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit. They're on a new Blackbird flying over to the Genosa. I almost said planet. They're flying over to Genosa. And Genosa is like the main home planet. Hey, see, I said it again. The main island for mutants. It's like all mutants there all the time. They redid it. It looks like a party city here. Everybody is going crazy. And it was kind of funny because Magneto, I don't know why he said this. I really don't know why. He tries to threaten Gambit a little bit because he goes, hey, Gambit, if this new Blackbird ceases to have any malfunctions, you'll be the only one of us that can't really fly to help themselves. So, hey, I was like, there was no reason to say that. Why did you bring that up? I don't know why he brought that up. But eventually they land. And as soon as they land, they see the UN girl, Shannon. I forgot her name, but the blonde girl with the glasses. And they want to talk to her. And they also see Madeline Pryor, which is really cool. She's also a really high up member of the UN, and she's also going to be helping make Genosa an actual landmark on the world, like a safe haven for mutants. So that's pretty cool. It was a really funny line because Gambit, she goes, hey, they want an X-Men to join, and you had a gene to spare. That's what Madeline Pryor said. That was pretty funny. And Gambit goes, hey, 2 is always better than 1, but 3's a crowd. And he points over to Magneto because he doesn't want him there. Anyway, they want to talk to Magneto personally. The UN lady, Madeline Pryor, and obviously they want Magneto. So Rogue's like, so what are we gonna do? And then Nightcrawler comes out of nowhere. He's obviously happy to see them both. Okay, yeah, I paused it. Yeah, okay. I didn't know. I turned the volume down. I didn't know if I did that or not. Anyway, he's really happy to see them. He starts hugging them. And it's really cool because I don't remember what the animation style was in the original series whenever Nightcrawler teleported. I think it was just a little puff of smoke. But in here, it's like a little purple vortex that just pops around him or swirls around him when he teleports, which I thought looks really cool. And then look at this. When he starts popping around, see? A little purple vortex. That looks dope. That looks really dope when he teleports around. Anyway, obviously, he's really happy to see Gambit and it's Rogue because that's somewhat of her sister. Anyway, Nightcrawler says that he's gonna sold them the sites of Genosa while Magneto talks to Madeline Pryor and the UN lady. I gotta figure out her name though. They say it plenty of times, but I kind of forget it honestly. So he grabs the hand, teleports down, and they just walk around, seeing all the other mutant kids and people just have fun, goofing around, and eventually they find this venue. And he gives Gambit an apple, and he says, this is this isn't just some place for mutants to have a safe haven. This is a home. This is a home for them that they can live and thrive in. And Gambit notices that this one apple costs $10. He goes, yo, the prices are kind of steep, aren't they? $10 for one apple. And Nightcrawler's like, hey, making a whole nation overnight, it's gonna have a little problems. And then Rogue goes, I don't mind him. He's just a fly, always trying to stick into somebody's honey. He also called Magneto and Gambit roosters when they were arguing, which is so funny, her southern language. Gambit says, or Gambit is willing to ask the big questions that nobody else is. Like, who in the world appointed Magneto the savior? Because there's a gigantic Charles Xavier statue plus a Magneto statue. There's Magneto posters everywhere. Like, since when was Magneto like, you know, #1 hero, All Might around here? Like, what's going on? Like, this is kind of weird. What is happening? Eventually, somebody starts to play music and everybody starts dancing, and Rogue goes into joining the fun. And Gambit is like, wow. Like, you know, just looking at Rogue because he's just so in love. And Nightcrawler goes, you know, for a man named Gambit, your poker face isn't really too good. And he goes, you know, I like, you know, obviously he tells Nightcrawler, I like Rogue and everything, but having a whole happy ending and a white dress and tux, that's not really for me. I'm a thief. And he goes, look, Gambit, obviously there's going to be love and sin, but also forgiveness. That's how you value your love. And go ahead and marry her. Let's see what happens. Gambit kind of thinks about what he says, and then we cut to the next scene. We cut back over to the X-Men, and the lady's interviewing Scott or Cyclops. And while she's interviewing Cyclops, we cut over to Wolverine talking to Jean, which is kind of a cool scene. She's putting her memories in water, and she's looking at them. She's trying to figure out which are her memories and which are the clone memories. Wolverine comes to talk to her. See, like, she put her memories inside the bubbles, and just trying to figure out which memories are which. And then we get a splice scene of Jean telling Wolverine a story when she was the Phoenix, and then we also splice it over to Cyclops, and he's telling the exact same story, but at 2 different parts. So Cyclops go, you know, me and Jean were walking down this bridge, and then we'll cut over to Jean, and he was so nervous. He even, like, tried to stumble, and then we come back over to Cyclops, and she hit me. Like, you know, that's not exactly what they said, but, you know, they're telling the exact same story, but they'll tell different parts when we cut back and forth. So basically, we get the story of when she had the Phoenix Force inside of her, she was talking to Cyclops, having a picnic. She took her glasses off and used the power of the Phoenix to withhold his power, because, you know, whenever he takes his glasses off, his laser eyes instantly come out. Super force, you know, he can't stop it. Like, yeah, that's why he always wears the visor or those red sunglasses. He always has to have those on. But she used the powers of the Phoenix to, like, neutralize his powers so they don't come out. And when she saw his eyes, she fell in love with him all over again. And that was her anchor. That was her anchor to this world. She did not want to go out and be a cosmic being with the Phoenix. That's how much she loves him. That's really sweet. That's really sweet. That was a really nice story. But she's also really conflicted and confused because all the memories and stuff, confusing clone, everything that's been happening lately, and they haven't been talking lately because of the whole clone stuff. Everything is kind of rocky. And Wolverine tells her, like, you know, I've seen plenty. I mean, I've tried to go through memories plenty of times. Because Wolverine's like 100+ years old. He's been through a lot of stuff, a lot of trauma. He goes, but looking at the past memories ain't going to do you no good. You're going to drown. I say you just keep paddling back up and go up for air. Because you're just going to stay in the past if you keep looking at the past. And Jean kind of thanks him, leans into Wolverine, and kisses him. I was like, what? Wolverine instantly, like he is mad. Like, he doesn't, like, snap at her, but he goes, you know, back up. You're Jean Grey. He's Scott Summers. You forgot that for a second. Let's not make a big deal out of this. So go talk to him. And walks off. So, okay, kudos to Wolverine. Wasn't trying to, obviously he loves Jean, but he knows, you know, cheating on him is wrong. So look, you messed up. I mean, I get stuff is going on with you, but you messed up. Back up off me. I'm not gonna, you know, take advantage of this situation, what's happening. Go talk to him. That's your boy. You know, that's a boyfriend, husband, you know, for who, like, I guess like 2-3 years now. But, you know, you guys are together, like the status quo. You two. Not me. I know this. Even though I want it, I can't get it. Go back to him. Kudos to Wolverine. I was like, yo, I was doing a reaction video. I was in my room like, what are you doing? Like, I wanted it like 2 times. Like, why would she do this? I couldn't think of a good reason. Like, there is no good reason. Like, what is happening? What is happening? I was so bad. Eventually, we cut back to the news reporter lady interviewing Cyclops, and she brings up his son. She goes, so how's parenthood? And he goes, well, I don't have a son. She goes, what do you mean? You had a son here. I saw the hospital records. You had a son. It's all on the camera that you told Rogue to, you know, take the powers of the medical knowledge. And he just snaps at her, spazzing about how, like, you know, I have to answer these petty questions just to prove I'm human. Or I'm good enough to even live along you. The truth is, human and mutants aren't the same. We are completely different. And we do everything in our power to live among you, but nothing works. We save you every day from criminals and other mutants, aliens, killer robots you made to kill us every single day. But nothing is good enough for you people. You just want to kill us, no matter what we do. We be kind, you want to kill us. We be evil, you want to kill us. You guys are just so ignorant. And thank goodness I'm not human like you. We'll all be ignorant too. Like, he just snaps off at her. And he just walks off. And Beast is in like the other room getting interviewed. And he hears it. He goes, yeah. He's like, that wasn't good. That was not good at all. We cut back over to Genosa. And we see the main council that wants to run Genosa. It's the Inner Circle guy. I forgot his name, but he has like the 8-beard face. We see him. I forgot the girl's name. Everybody was hyping her up like crazy. I forgot her name, but we also see Banshee, Magneto, not Magneto. Charles Xavier's friend that he married in the original series. And okay, so we see some Inner Circle people. We also see Banshee and his wife, the friend for Charles Xavier. When I saw this, I was like, yo, why are they here? These are bad guys, the Inner Circle. What is happening? Like, I understand this is a mutant nation, but these were still pretty bad people in the original series. I don't know why they're chilling here. Like, this is so weird. Anyway, they want Magneto to run Genosa. Magneto isn't really trying to run Genosa. Isn't there anybody else that he can? Isn't there anybody else that they can do to be the public front, the face of this? And the only other person that would be good for a public front face for the world would be Charles Xavier. But obviously, he's not here. And since he runs the X-Men, this is kind of his duty now too. And he's like, you gotta be kidding. Magneto is like, this is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. He brings up a story about how when he first met when he first met Charles Xavier, they were in a bar and they were talking with each other. Well, not when he first met him, but like early on. And they were talking about, humans and mutants living together. Obviously, Magneto didn't really think that could happen, so he laughed at him. And he remembers Charles doing that laugh. That fake laugh. I mean, not laugh, that fake smile. Laughing to himself that, he'll come around eventually. And he didn't believe it. Now look at him. Then we cut over to Magneto face again. Because when he was talking, it was like a wide shot seeing everybody's reaction to the story. And we were zooming in on a piece of glass that had some beer in it. And the ice was like melting while he was talking. And he goes, I'll run this country under one condition. And then we cut over to Rogue. And that one condition was for Rogue to be his queen. And she is spazzing like, what is wrong with you? You think you're going to get me this way just so I can be with you to make me the queen of Genosa? I'm an X-Men. I got stuff to do. So they just obviously they go back and forth and everything here. Eventually, Magneto tries to convince her. It seems like she's going to come around. And then we cut back over to Scott and Jean Grey talking. And while they're talking, Madeline Pryor and Jean Grey have like a psychic link, and it hits her like a truck. And she realizes that Scott and Madeline Pryor have been talking psychically for a while now. And she storms out and she gets mad because she says that was their thing. And the fact that she's talking psychically to another woman, Madeline Pryor, is like cheating, basically, to a psychic, that don't have powers. And he goes, it's only been happening for a month, and I just been checking in on her because, she is the child to my baby. I mean, it's the child to my baby. She is the mother to my baby. Just checking in to see how she is. And so eventually they run past Beast again, and he hears them arguing, and the camera's like zooming in. He's like, oh my goodness. They run outside, and while they're arguing, another psychic link happens, and she sees a vision from episode 1. That huge Sentinel monster that was killing a ton of mutants. And then she falls to the ground, and he goes, Scott, obviously Scott's like, yo, Jean, what's the matter? What's happening? And she goes, it's Madeline. We cut over to Gambit, and he's putting on a white tux, and he's looking nice. My boy Gambit, he's looking fresh, and Rogue flies into his room, and he goes, whoa, I wasn't expecting a lady caller. Like, man, look at Gambit. I mean, he's looking fresh, ain't he? My boy looking tight. She tells Gambit that he might want to sit down for this. So the very next scene is Gambit sitting down, throwing cards into a fire, and Rogue explains her backstory. That, so yeah, I guess I'll go over the whole backstory. When her mutant powers awaken, she put this boy into a coma. Because as you know, Rogue's skin, it's not toxic to people, but if somebody touches it, she absorbs your life force, so you could die if you hold on to her for too long, and you just pass out and turn into a coma. Because she was dating somebody as a teenager, they kissed, her powers awakened, and boom, it sucked the life force out of him. Her dad found out that she was a mutant, and he was racist against mutants, so he kicked her out. So Mystique, posing as like this random lady, kind of adopted her and taught her how to use her powers. Because Rogue, if she touches another mutant, she can absorb their powers and use their powers for a little limited time. If she holds on to you for too long and basically kills you, she gets your powers permanently. She did that to Captain Marvel. That's why she can fly around and she's super strong. Captain Marvel isn't dead, but she is in a coma. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Anyway, while she was teaching her to use her powers, she said that she knew a person that could help her even better. That person is Magneto. And while Magneto was showing her around this jungle area in the Savage Land, teaching her stuff about mutants' kind, how he wanted to make a place just for mutants, art, books, music for them, like day after day after day of them teaching, learning, and using the powers, she fell in love with him. And eventually they figured out that his electromagnetic powers can cancel out her, like, absorbing powers to kill people, and they can touch. And they got together and, they got together and doom. And eventually one night she saw him shaking and squirming and saw that he had his own demons in his head. And obviously there's not enough room for two people with demons in their head. I can't help him when I have my own struggles and stuff going on. So they called it a quits. And ever since they seen each other again, he pretends like nothing ever happened. And Gambit throws the Queen of Hearts in the fire, just how he dropped the Queen of Hearts when he saw Rogue come out of Magneto's room. And she goes, he asks her, are you going to stay with Magneto? She goes, I have to, as an X-Men. Leaving Genosha, a land for mutants, is kind of what we're all about, right? Like, this is kind of a good step to go forward. And they start to argue back and forth because Gambit's like, you said you never want to make things official between us. So I've been your swamp rat. I've been the guy somewhat on the sideline. Now you want Magneto and you're telling me this now? What's up? And while they're arguing, she also says, Remy, that's his real name, Gambit, Remy LeBeau, that's his real name. I can't touch you. I can't do the things you want me to do. I can't do the things I would like to do with you. I can't feel your heartbeat. He goes, you know what? Some things go deeper than just touching skin. She goes, not like this. And flies out. And obviously Gambit feels really sad. And he goes, okay then. Well, I guess we're just friends. So I said that backwards. He says, okay, I guess we're just friends then. Me and you are just friends. Kisses her hand. She has a glove on, so it's fine. And she flies out. We cut over to the big party that they're having while Genosha is like, well, it's already made, so I don't know why they're having this big old party, but they're having a really big party. Everybody's in tuxes and dresses. Everybody's chilling. The UN lady comes over to, the UN lady walks over to Magneto because she does not want Magneto to run this country because he's basically a terrorist. So a terrorist running a whole country that's going to be recognized by the United States, that's not really good. And Madeline Pryor goes over to Gambit to cheer him up because you can obviously see he's feeling pretty sad right now. So Magneto goes, look, I only agreed to do this if Rogue, one of the X-Men, one of the good guys, agreed to stay here and be his queen. And she goes, okay, well, what did she say? Then we see Rogue descend from the sky while she's levitating down slowly, and she's wearing a red dress. And then Magneto and her start to dance mid-air while they're flying, and they touch hands. And obviously, Gambit doesn't want to see this, so he walks out. When that happens, while they're dancing, Rogue kisses Magneto. When they're done kissing, she goes, Remy was right. Some things are more than just skin deep, and tries to push Magneto away. Then we cut outside, and Madeline Pryor gets a nosebleed, and she gets psychically linked to Jean. So I guess it's like at the same time this is happening. So once he walks outside, we see Cable. He comes out, and he goes, cut the music. He's here. And obviously she's like, what's going on? It's too late. Cut the music. Everybody got to get out of here. And she looks at Cable's face, and she goes, your eyes. I know you. And he goes, I'm sorry, Mom. And he starts to fade away. So obviously Cable is Madeline Pryor and Cyclops' son, If you didn't notice, the technovirus was able to get out of him. I guess I wasn't able to get fully out of him because he got a metal arm. I did notice from the comics that, Cable was Cyclops and Jean's baby, but I didn't know it was Madeline Pryor's baby. I think the comic version is just like the show. Cyclops had a baby with the clone, and the clone's baby from Cyclops is Cable. If Jean and Cyclops have a kid, I don't know. Like the actual Jean and Cyclops have another kid, I don't know. But I knew like this was real, and he just fades out of existence. Not fade out of existence. I think he just went back to his time because he stays in the future. He doesn't just come back to get raised after he gets cured. He stays back in the future. Anyway, after that happens, a huge green bomb explodes. There's like chaos everywhere, fire, brimstone, everybody screaming. Rogue, she did get passed out for a second after the bomb explodes. She wakes back up like, what is happening? What is going on? She looks up and she sees Banshee and his wife get disintegrated by this cosmic beam. Her and Magneto turn around and it's a gigantic 3-headed Kaiju Sentinel. Like, what in the world is this thing? It starts to shoot another cosmic beam at them, but I was gonna say Cyclops. Nightcrawler comes in, grabs them both, and teleports them away. And then eventually Gambit comes over, and Magneto's like, Gambit, how many? Like, what's going on? There's too many to count. There's so many dead. Like, we gotta stop this thing. We've been throwing everything at it. It's not even denting it. Like, I don't know what's happening. And Nightcrawler, he does get pretty banged up, but he's alive. He's just out of commission right now. So is Callisto and a couple other mutants that are actually heavy hitters. I don't actually know what powers Callisto has, though, the leader of the Morlocks. Anyway, they say that the Morlocks are trapped under a bay, and that's where the gigantic Kaiju Sentinel is. So Rogue and Gambit are going to fly over there. Well, Rogue is going to fly, Gambit's on a motorcycle in a really dope scene. And when they go over there, he's going to cause a distraction for the giant Kaiju monster to follow him. So Magneto's fighting it one-on-one, where Rogue and Gambit goes after the Morlocks. And a really dope scene. This was dope. I love it. Gambit on the motorcycle, with Rogue flying around fighting other Sentinels. Because this giant Kaiju monster are just popping out Sentinels like eggs. Just constantly pop, pop, pop. Sentinel, Sentinel, Sentinel. While this gigantic Kaiju monster is already just walking around, stomping, shooting cosmic beams. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, who made this? Obviously, this is the thing that Jean Grey saw, or Madeline Pryor saw in her vision back in season 1. Who or someone heard this vision? I don't know. Who made this thing? I don't know. But the very next scene is cool. So Magneto's fighting this gigantic Kaiju Sentinel. Nothing he do is really denting it. Eventually it smacks Magneto and he hits right into the Charles Xavier statue. It falls over and kills a ton of people. And he sees this and he starts to like break down and starts going crazy. And he starts to think about all the deaths here and all the deaths from back in the day during the Holocaust. And he goes, they will be avenged. He grabs a train and starts smacking this thing around. Anytime it tries to do anything, smack, smack, smack. He's not playing, man. He is not playing. After that, we cut over to the Morlocks, and they're really scared because wherever they are, it's going to cave in soon. And Leak said everything is going to be okay because Magneto said that he's going to save them. And no, he's going to save them no matter what. And wait, sorry. Yeah, oh, okay. He said he promised Leaks would never be scared again. And for some reason, a girl with the colorful hair says the X-Men are no friend of the Morlocks. But I don't know why, because by the end of the original series, they were still pretty tight. So unless something happened in this year span, I don't know why they wouldn't be tight anymore. Anyway, we cut over to Gambit, pop it in to save everybody in a really cool scene. I especially love when he just tosses the card over to the side and blows up the Sentinel head. My boy Gambit, man. My boy Gambit was so nice this episode. So he saves everybody there, and when he runs outside, he blows up, I think it was like a giant piece of a building with the scarf he had, and the gigantic monster Sentinel shoots a cosmic beam down at Magneto and the Morlocks. And Magneto makes a shield, but he can't hold it for too long. Rogue tries to run in and save him, but he grabs a piece of metal and wraps it around Gambit and Rogue so they can't move. And Gambit goes, share. He's trying to save us. Don't go any closer. And, Magneto's like trying to hold it. There's a piece of metal right in between his face. It's not like stuck in there, but it's right between his face. He looks at her, then he looks down at Leaks, and he says, "Don't be afraid." Then he grabs a bigger piece of metal and wraps it around Rogue, and then the gigantic beam breaks through the barrier and disintegrates them. Ugly Rogue starts spazzing and breaks all the metal off her, flies towards the Sentinel. It's gonna shoot a beam at her and disintegrate her too. Gambit grabs his motorcycle, charges it up, throws it at Rogue, it explodes. She goes flying into the side. And then Gambit, he goes, "Okay, let's do this." He runs up to the Sentinel. He's gonna do something, and then he gets stabbed in the side. And then it goes, mutant threat eliminated. And then Gambit just smiles. And he supercharges up the Sentinel with his power. And he goes, "The name's Gambit, mon ami. Remember it." And blows up the Sentinel. I was like, what? Yo, I don't know who made this thing, but they need to get caught and found. Because by the end of the episode, Rogue holds him, and he's all jacked up, and she says, "I can't feel you." So I'm guessing he's dead, and also Magneto's dead. And also Banshee and Charles Xavier's friend, the girl, I forgot her name, she also helps with mutant kind. And everybody, the rest of the X-Men are watching this on TV. Like, what's happening? How many deaths? Like, what's going on? Beast just holds his head. He's like starting to break down. Everybody's just speechless. They don't know what to say. And that's the end of the episode. I was like, yo, Magneto, unless this thing teleports you, which doesn't seem likely, maybe, I don't know. But unless this thing can teleport you somewhere, I'm sorry, I guess they died, which is kind of wild. Like, that doesn't make any sense, though, for us. So, your heaviest hitters, because I think there's supposed to be 10 episodes, right, for this season? We're only on episode 5. Some of your heaviest hitters, like Gambit, Magneto, dead? Charles Xavier's friend? The girl? I forgot her name. Yo, oh my goodness, I almost cried. I'm not even joking. I didn't cry, but I was like, my heart dropped. I was like, Gambit, no. And Magneto, I was actually starting to like him. I was kind of getting annoyed with him with the whole Rogue thing, but man, I cannot wait till next week. Oh, I think next week is the thing, the Storm episode. I think your life, death. So we got to deal with her. Then we can cut back to this. My goodness, man, this was ridiculous. I need to find out who made this thing. Obviously, you think Trask, but I don't know, because this thing would seem next level. And he's in jail already, unless he just had this in his back pocket somehow. But the firepower, I don't know, man. Like, this was ridiculous. This thing, this thing was ridiculous. But that's the episode. I'm sorry. I rambled through some parts and stuff like that, but I forgot some things. I'm so sorry. But this episode was so sad near the end. There's so much chaos. Anyway, that's the episode. So like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for watching. I thank you all there for being wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. All right. Mon ami.